Alright, what's up guys? JR here. It is Friday the 24th of February 2017, and we're going to see if we can get one quick trade today. I actually overslept and missed all of this morning because I did some activities yesterday that had me a bit tired, so I just woke up at around about 12:30, came and sat down at my desk, and now this is a trade that I see, a possible short. So basically we have some pretty clearly defined resistance up top, so ideally you don't want to get long into that. And I've noticed that we've tested this level this is the third or fourth time that we're testing it, and we had a bit of congestion right here. We had a failed breakout, and then it turned down with a pretty bearish bar. So I'm thinking that people are buying into this resistance anyways, and most likely we might break out of the bottom of this resistance and come back down here and test these lows. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to get short right here. And yeah, so hopefully this thing works out relatively quickly. I like the way the setup looks, and hopefully you understand why you don't want to be going long into this right here, because this is a pretty tempting bar. Because if you're paying attention, you notice you get your first attempt to go lower right there, second attempt to go lower right here, and then this is your failed second entry short once we break above this bar. And it's a pretty bullish bar all off the EMA, but you have to pay attention to this resistance, and at this point it appears to be kind of strong, so it's not worth risking it. We could break through this and just keep going up higher, but at the end of the day, that's not a trade that you want to risk. So I'd much rather risk trying to go short here than trying to go long and having it tick a few ticks higher like it did right here and then turn back down. So we'll see if we can short this. If not, oh well. If we do, that'll be a nice trade, but we'll be right back in the meantime. Alright, so we just got ticked into this trade. We have to take a full 2-point stop on this one because that's as far as we can get, basically. So our stop is going to be 1 tick above our signal bar. First contract is coming off at 1 point, so it's going to be 57.25, and then the second contract is going to come off at 2 points, and that's going to be 56.25. I may move this down a tad bit lower. No, I'm going to leave it right where it is because that's pretty much the safest spot to exit before you get down to this previous area of support. One more thing for me to point out is that this is a mini trading range, and we do have support down here, so you need to be a little bit concerned about that. And we're also going short right into the EMA, so that's just something to think about. Kind of you may want to weigh the pros and cons of a trade like this, but I like it. I like risking it to the downside to see if we can get maybe a breakout of this level and come on down here and test these lows and maybe test this previous area that we broke out from and haven't come back to test it yet. So we'll see what happens, but in the meantime I'm just going to go back to pause. Alright guys, so we had to be a little bit patient with this one. After we entered, we actually got 2 dojis in a row, but it's appearing like we're actually going to get our order filled right about now. And let me just briefly explain the reasons as to why I took this trade. So pretty much we have a range day. You have an uptrend working up, you get an overshoot which ultimately leads to a break, and then you get 2 measured legs up to a new high. So you get your first leg right here, then your second leg comes right here. Alright, and then that puts us right up top to our area of resistance, and we get that new high by I think about a tick or two. So technically that trend is done. Yeah, we get that new high by about 2 ticks, so technically that trend is done. Then we sell off the top of our resistance area, then we pull back, come back up, test it again, test it twice, and then we turn down. So I don't like going long into this. This is strong resistance. The trend has been played out. You get a break, 2 measured legs up to a new high, and then even on a short-term spectrum, if you're really paying attention, you can look at this short-term trend up, and even then you still get a break, push up to a new high, and then it turns down. So if I was going to do anything, I do like taking the short. I don't like taking a long here because it's too risky. You have strong support right here. I mean, you have strong resistance right here, and your trend is technically played out. So just things that you want to pay attention to when you're trying to figure out which direction the market is most likely heading in. And this is a range day, so as you can see, you come off, remember the context. So alright, so we got that first contract out. Remember the context. When you come off one side of your range, you're most likely heading to the other side, and the same thing when it comes to trend lines. You come off one side of your trend line, you're most likely going to the other side. So just some little helpful hints and tips to kind of keep you on the right side of a trade. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You get the overshoot, which leads to the break. You get 2 nice measured legs up to a new high. You bounce off your area of support. I keep calling it support, but it's resistance. Same thing really, but you bounce off your area of resistance, you come on down, you get 2 legs back, you get another attempt to go higher. We tap off of it once, pull back, tap off of it twice again. It also gives us a new high for this short-term uptrend. Then you get a nice bearish reversal bar. One thing that makes this trade might make you a little bit leery of it, is this tight congestion that we're kind of in, and you have to get short into the EMA and that previous area of, this is a little bit of resistance right here, a little bit of support, excuse me, sorry, just woke up, I guess I'm still a little bit foggy, but a little bit of support right down here. So just things that you want to pay attention to. But I like that we broke out of this area, and if you guys don't know, pretty much all prices want to do is they move to probe and test different critical areas of support and resistance. So most breakouts fail, so we broke out of this area and we never came back to retest it. So now if you look, I bet you that this is to the tick lined up with those highs. And let's look and see. And as you can see, that's to the tick. It's lined up with the previous area of resistance, so we came back to test this. We could bounce right here, come back and stop me out, since most breakouts do in fact fail, and this is a tight area of congestion, so most likely we will pull back and retest this before going lower, or we could just continue going lower. But I like taking advantage of the sell stops that were down here for all the people that bought right in here, and sure enough, as you can see, that's why we get this area of heavy selling right there, because we're running through the stops. But we'll see if we can get the 2-point target. I don't know, but ideally you'd like to see this thing come all the way down to here to the other ends of the range, but I'm not going to stick around for that long. We're just going to go ahead and take our 2 points, because there's no guarantee that we will actually come down here anyways, and we don't want to overstay our welcome. But in the meantime, we're just going to go back to pause, and I'll be back when we get a bit of a change. Alright, so a brief little update. Based off the way that this bar looks, we might get stopped out right here, because I'm expecting this breakout to fail. So we'll probably, this is a pretty bullish bar, we'll probably get a breakout that'll pull back, retest this, and then continue going lower. So we might get stopped right here, but we're going to go back to pause. Alright, so we're 1 tick away from getting stopped out on that runner. But one more thing that I want to talk about briefly is I had a request about a week or so ago to do a video kind of talking about my background and how I found trading, etc., etc. So I wanted to have a Q&A. So if you guys want to have like a little Q&A kind of session with me, just go ahead and leave your questions down in the comments on this video, and then I'll look through them, and I'll probably make just a strictly Q&A video sometime within the near future. If not next week, it'll be sometime in March probably. So just go ahead and leave your questions in the comment section. If you want to know like what I went to school for, how I found trading, yeah, just I don't know, whatever you guys want to know, as long as you're not asking me for like extra specific stuff and things that are still kind of relevant as to who I am. Yeah, sure, we can talk about that. So whatever you guys want to know, just go ahead and leave your questions in the comments, and we'll have kind of like a little bit of a Q&A. We might actually get this runner, I don't know, because I like the way that ticked up 1 tick higher and then turned down again. Stuff like this actually serves as an even greater trap, because we went 1 tick higher, turned down again right off the EMA, and those ticks were looking like they were moving kind of fast for a second. So we'll see what happens, but hopefully you guys understand why you don't want to go long in a situation like this. Granted, yes, it is a failed second entry, because you get your first entry short right there, pull back your second entry short right there. It is off the EMA. It does look like a good setup, but you have to understand the context, and the context is that's right into some pretty strong resistance, and we already had a break of our trend line and 2 measured legs up to a new high. So technically your trend is over, and you need to be very careful about taking any longs in the you need to be very careful about trading in the continued direction of the trend when it's over. And you also have to realize that this is a range day. We're swinging below, above, below, above, below, above. We're swinging back and forth above and below the EMA, so it won't trade the same exact way as a strong trend day. So just be careful in regard to that. Let me move this down again, because they might come back and get me right there. But if you're wondering why I keep moving this back and forth, it's so that way you guys can see the figure. But in actuality, I'm going to keep it at break even, but it's just so you can see the figure for purely visual purposes. But yeah, so go ahead, leave your comments down below in the Q&A. I know this video is kind of late, I overslept. I actually went fishing yesterday. It's been pretty warm, abnormally warm for the middle of February, the end of February. Literally, I don't know if you guys live near water or anything, but there's like a creek or something right next to my house, and whenever it gets warm, like around about the springtime, early summer, you can hear, like, I don't know if it's frogs or crickets or what, but they make noise. Any of you guys who live in the south or live near water, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's a sign that it's getting warm outside. It's spring, it's summer, and I was hearing that in the middle of February. So very strange, but it's been in the 70s, like upper 60s, low 70s all week. So I decided to go fishing yesterday. Didn't catch anything. I was just feeling motivated because I like to watch fishing videos while I'm actually in the middle of trading, but I was feeling a tad bit motivated, so I said, all right, I'll give it a whirl. Didn't catch a thing. Got snagged. Caught a bird's nest in my reel. So it was very eventful and very calming. It wasn't frustrating or irritating at all. Hopefully you guys can tell my sarcasm through the mic, but yeah, so I'll have to give that another try once it gets warmer outside. But yeah, leave your comments down below. We're just gonna go back to pause because I don't want this video to go on for too long. But moral of this video is don't get long into areas of support. Areas of resistance. Don't go short into areas of support. You want to respect those levels because they're strong, and pay attention to the context. The context of this is that you have a break, 2 legs up, and you retested it several times, so you're most likely going lower. It's a range day, but yeah, we'll be right back. Alright, so these ticks just started snapping off relatively quickly, so I think we might get this runner right now. As you basically look at these ticks sometimes, and when you see them, they're kind of snapping off like in a certain direction relatively fast. That means that there's strength in that direction, so you can kind of get like a feel for the volume. Alright, so we just got, excuse me, almost choked, but we just got that runner out right there. But look at these ticks sometimes, and when you see them snapping off relatively quickly in a certain direction, that means that there's good strength in that direction, so the volume is most likely leaning to that direction, so you can kind of gauge whether or not your trade is going to work. So you can use that to help you. You can kind of use that to exit sometimes if you enter in the wrong direction and you just see a big reversal bar and you see the ticks are kind of flying off in the opposite direction. You might want to go ahead and close that trade. But that's it for today. Let me just go over this trade briefly one more time. Pretty much you have an uptrend working up. You get an overshoot, which leads to a break. You get 2 measured legs up to a new high. We create some resistance up top here. You get a 2-legged correction. You get a pullback back up to test that resistance one more time. You test it once, you test it twice, you get a nice big bearish bar. You don't want to go long right here because clearly there's resistance right up top there. It is a failed second entry short though, and that's the main reason why I like taking this to the downside, because I figured we had people trapped. People like to buy these things, and it's right off the EMA, so it's a decent looking setup, but I wasn't going to take it because there's resistance right there. We end up with a nice bearish reversal bar. This is a beautiful bar, so I went ahead and went short underneath there, and it worked out quite nicely. We got 3 points out of that, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. I know this video is a little bit late in the week, so I overslept, woke up. I said, all right, I got to get one video at least for the week, so this is our video for the week. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I like seeing the subscribers come in because that lets me know that you guys are in fact enjoying the content. So subscribe, please like the video if you actually liked it. If you didn't like it, then don't even worry about it. Don't like it if you don't like it, but yeah. That's pretty much it. I'll see you guys sometime next week. This is JR, and I'll see you guys later.